Every therapy that we begin on a patient has a chance to benefit them, but it also has a chance to harm them. If on top of that, you add the harm that comes from the toxicity of drugs, a lot of therapies are actually more likely to harm you than to benefit you. This is the most important point I want to make today. The therapies that are being approved today, either by the FDA or the EMA or other regulatory agencies, are not nearly as good as we would like them to be. Some turn out to be good, but the majority, unfortunately, are not what one would like. And so why is that? I mean, I think really the basic answer is that cancer is so difficult to treat. And the more we learn, the more we understand why it's so difficult to treat. But the other problem, I think, is that from a pharmaceutical company point of view, a lot of money is invested into research and development. And then it gets to the point where, in fact, you have to have a return on your investment. And then you design a clinical trial that is going to give you, marginal to at best mediocre results. What we're really talking about is improvements in progression-free survival or overall survival that are between 2 to 2.5 months in the overwhelming majority of cases, that being the median improvement, 2 to 2.5 months. And I think we could do a lot better. So now, every drug is good for a small fraction of patients. The problem is that identifying that small fraction of patients, and it's incredible how difficult that is proving. It's also incredible how quickly that becomes less and less interesting. The evil thing is to say, well, pharmaceutical companies don't want you to find out that instead of every patient, only 10% of it should get it. The truth is, it's not that simple. There's a little bit, if not a lot, that we as scientists have to take blame for, that we too lose interest, if you will. We want to be a part of the new and exciting therapies, not trying to understand why a drug approved 5 or even 10 years ago is effective in only a small fraction of patients and who those are. In many ways, bevacizumab, Avastin, is a perfect example of that. There's no doubt that it's of value in some patients. With breast cancer, it was clearly of value in a small fraction of patients, but in the majority it was not. And here we are, 15 years later, and hundreds of clinical trials with bevacizumab. Millions of patients have received that drug, and we haven't a clue as to what would make us be able to identify the patients who would benefit from that drug. Not in breast cancer, not in colon cancer, not in lung cancer, not now in cervical cancer, not in ovarian cancer, not in any indication that it's either approved or in which it's used. And so what happens then if we approve drugs that are of marginal or even mediocre benefit? Was there a way to better channel that energy and those resources and those finances elsewhere? And in my mind, there no doubt is. And I think that we as a society don't want to be spending a lot of money on drugs that are ineffective, and we would rather direct those resources to developing new and better drugs. We should be demanding more of our clinical trials, and I think that that's something that we all have to begin to rally around and turn our energies and our resources to conducting trials that are meaningful and will be valuable for our patients and for society as a whole.